Hi guys, I'm back with another video, two videos in one day. This is another video about names. This time I'm going to talk about how I chose Molly's name and why it's my favorite. And Molly is sitting in her bouncer and I really hope she doesn't fuss because I want to get this done without her screaming. Um, so I'm just going to get started. Molly has been my favorite name since I was about 19 years old. It's really funny because when I was younger, I did not like the name Molly. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it just like seemed like all the books that we read, like the loser was always named Molly. She was like always just plain Jane loser. And I was like, oh, that sucks. What a horrible name for a horrible character. And if you would have told me when I was little that I was gonna name my daughter Molly, I would have been like, really? Why? So, wow, she's like going crazy. She's like kicking and woo. Um, so when I was little, I didn't like kids, which is kind of funny. But that changed when I got to college. But also, when I was in kindergarten, my mom saved like a lot of my schoolwork. There was a project that was like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I wrote a mom, and I do not remember doing that. I'm just like amazed that I wrote that, and I was like, "Oh." So, around the time my cousin was born, when I was 9, I was like, "I don't like kids." And then, once I started college, and was like, baby making age, I was like, "Oh my gosh, I want a baby so bad," and I got baby fever. I got okay, hang on. I got baby fever like a lot, and I wanted a baby so bad, but I wanted to be married first, of course, and I was waiting for my. At the time, he was my boyfriend. Now he's my husband. I waited for him while he went on his mission, and he didn't do that right away, so he worked, and I waited for him, and all that. Everyone, if you watched my other video, you know that I dated my husband for a really long time before we got married. So, anyway, um, I was like, I suddenly had baby fever, and I wanted a baby so bad, but I knew it wouldn't happen like right away. I wanted to be married, and I wanted, to be like out of the house. I didn't move out until I got married, and the reason is because I was in college and I didn't have a job because I was a music major, and it's really hard to have a job and be a music major. And I got really fortunate that I didn't have to work, so I couldn't move out because I had no money to afford an apartment. So, but it worked out for the best, and I am financially independent from my parents. So anyway, man, I'm just like totally getting off track. So anyway, I wanted a baby so bad, and whatever, I said that already. Okay, so when I was 17, I started playing RuneScape, and my husband got me addicted to it. Like, he just one day was in my room and he typed in this website that I thought was Run Escape, like all the newbies. And he's like, "You should play this game. I think you'll really like it." And he just like wanted me to play it because he had an account and he wanted me to have an account so that he could play with me. He had no idea that I get addicted. Joke's on him because I got addicted and I played that game for like 6 years. I don't play it anymore, but I do have quite a high level character to show for myself, and her name was Full of Pie, for those that don't know. And then I eventually changed it to Molly Musica because Molly was my favorite name. So, anyway, now let's go into why Molly's my favorite name because I didn't like it when I was little. So, I started playing RuneScape, and I quickly, like, immediately got hooked and immediately, like, a few months, like 3 months at most, after I started playing RuneScape, I got members and I had membership pretty much straight through until I quit, with the exception of there were like 2 times I didn't have members for like 3 or 4 months. But anyway, so I started playing RuneScape and blah 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 blah. I'm just playing around, and then clans came out. When I started playing RuneScape, it was before clans were even around. So I had no idea there was supposed to be a social aspect of RuneScape. And so when clans came out, I just got lucky and I ended up in a clan. Um, and there were lots of people, lots of very wide variety of demographic in this clan. There were kids, that were like 14. So then there were a lot of like older women, and by older I mean like the ages of like 25 to 45. That and like there were a lot of mothers that played. Some got hooked because they wanted to see their children play, and they wanted to see what the game was about, and they got addicted. Cat, I'm looking at you. So anyway, there was this really really sweet girl, and I never found out her real name because she was smart, unlike the rest of us. A lot of us knew each other's real name. Uh, like everyone knew my real name, and they mostly called me by my real name. This girl was such a sweetheart. I never found out what her real name was. I know her real name wasn't Molly. I do know that. At least I'm pretty sure her real name isn't Molly. But her screen name, her RuneScape account name, was Kitty Molly. And she was just the sweetest girl. She always put a smiley face after like all of her text that she would type. And she was just the sweetest girl. She was really funny. She had like this really slight crass side to her that I really liked. And we just became really close. I mean, as close as an online relationship can be. We were really good friends, and I considered her pretty much my first RuneScape best friend. And we would hang out together. She was a much higher level than me, so she often was doing stuff that I couldn't even access. But we would always be talking, like in the chat, or we'd be talking in the PM. And I considered her a really, really good friend. And so much so that the name Molly started to grow on me. And I never called her Molly, I always called her Kitty. I only called her Kitty. I never, because I was like, I don't like Molly so much. But the name grew on me a lot. And by the time I was like 20-ish, like 19, 20, Molly was pretty much my favorite name. And I was like, I really love this name now. I think it's so cool. And I am a writer. I create stuff in my head, and I create people and stuff like that. And there's a lot named Molly because it was my favorite name. And they were really cool. And, like, as I was going along, the name grew on me more and more. And of course, I eventually changed my RuneScape name to Molly Musica because I loved the name so much. And, it wasn't so much, I did not, like, name myself after her. I just, like, loved the name because of her. And then things happened, and I haven't talked to her in a really long time. I really miss her. Um, she, we both left the clan we were in and we went separate clans. And she set her profile so that she couldn't PM anymore. And when you do that, you can't tell if they're even online or not. So I lost I lost contact with her, and I'm really sad about it. Oh, and so is Molly. She's crying about it. So I haven't actually talked to her or seen her in several years, probably since 2010. Also, she was traveling a lot for work, so she was gone for many months in a row, even before that. But I do really miss her. She was really, really fun to hang out with. But anyway, because of her, because of that screen name, the name Molly grew on me. And, like, I still had baby fever, and I was just like, hurry up, and, I want to get married, blah, 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 whatever. But I was okay with waiting. But, I really wanted to get a head start. I just really wanted to start baby making. So, I don't remember exactly when it was, but it was sometime when I was, like, in my early 20s that I started to strongly consider using Molly as the name of one of my children. And I was just like, well, that escalated quickly, I guess. Like, it was my favorite name for a long time, and then I was like, you know what, I would name my kid this. And I don't know what I would have named my kid otherwise. I was like, well, I guess it's good to have a favorite name. So I would talk to my husband. I talked to Ben about it before we got married, before we got engaged. We were just kind of like, I casually brought it up, like, we're gonna get engaged, we're gonna get married, like, we want our kids' names to be, blah, blah, blah. He hates talking about kid names, and of course I was like, I want to name our kids! So I brought up Molly, and I was like, I love the name Molly. It's my favorite name. It's grown on me. I love it. Like, I've used it in some of my characters and all of this. And he was like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, if you say no, I'm gonna be so pissed. And then he was like, oh, I knew a girl named Molly on my mission, and she was like, it's whatever. And I was like, come on. I was like, oh no, I hope that doesn't mean he doesn't want to use it. And I was like really worried he'd be like, it's too common. But he was like, yeah, I guess it's okay. And I was like, I was like, we'll see what happens when I actually get pregnant. So we got married, blah blah blah. I got pregnant, and I was like, if it's a girl, her name's Molly. And I was like completely dead set that her name was gonna be Molly. And thankfully he agreed and he was like, yeah, we'll do Molly for a girl. And I was like, yes. And so I didn't even have any other girls' names picked out whatsoever for a girl. We had a really hard time coming with a boy's name we both liked because I like all these names and all the names I like he doesn't because they're either too common or he just doesn't like them. Thankfully, one of my favorite boys' names he did like, so that's what we're gonna do for a boy. And I was really excited. I was really hoping she'd be a girl so I could use Molly. I was like, oh come on. So when I got pregnant with Molly, I didn't know for a while, and I was really scared and put off, getting ultrasound and everything. But when I found out she was a girl, I was like, that's Molly, and she's born. Her legal name is Molly Rose. So yeah. So I guess I'll talk about her middle name. It's really simple. Rose is a family name in my husband's family. All five of his sisters have the middle name Rose. One of them, her middle name isn't Rose, but it's Rose in a different language. And then his mom's middle name is Rose. And so he was like, I want to name all our kids, all our girls, middle name Rose. And I was like, all of them? I'm not a fan of giving our kids the same middle name, but I don't know if I'll be able to veto that or not. And it's really not as big a deal. So I'm willing to let that go. I'm mostly pissed because I love names and that like cuts the number of names to name my kids in half. So whatever. And also, I'm kind of annoyed because Rose is a really really common middle name because it fits with like every single name ever. So I was like, why Rose? Why couldn't it be something like Star or something? I don't know. So, oh, she smiled at me. So Rose it is. So her name is Molly Rose, and I don't know if our future kids will all have the middle name Rose or not. I'm gonna try to convince him not to and give them like a flower in general or something like that, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's gonna veto that, and I honestly, as long as he lets me name my kids what I want their names to be, I really don't care about giving them two names. So their middle name can be Rose all they want. Um, so I was gonna say something, but I totally forgot what I was gonna say in addition to that. But anyway, her name is Molly Rose, and oh, okay, now I remember. I want some of our kids, their middle name to be my middle name, just because it's like our boys are all gonna have the middle name Benjamin if he gets his way, which he probably will. So I'm just like, what about me and my side of the family? So I'm hoping I can give some of my kids my middle name, and when that time comes, if it comes, I'll let you know what it is. So guess I'll go since this video is 15 minutes. Just kidding, it's 14 minutes. And I think Molly's gonna fuss and she's probably gonna wanna eat and all that, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, that's how she got her name. It was a name I didn't like until I was an adult, and then it totally grew on me over about 2 or 3 years. And, so there you go. Bye.